one's always
where, you know, I don't really understand why you need signs to help you remember your beliefs.
Why does a policeman wear a uniform?
Well, I can tell you why a policeman wears a uniform, but I don't like uniforms.
No, but why does a policeman wear a uniform?
So that we can tell who he is and what he's about.
Yeah, so if someone needs help, they know where to go.
Can I ask you about your approach to people, the way you approach people in the street? For instance, your method of selling, which I think it's a tiny bit akin to trickery. You know, you say, here's a free gift from God, and then a minute later, and this has happened to me, you say, £1.50 please. And it's a little at odds with your thinking.
I would find it very difficult to trust anybody who would come up to me and then first of all say, here's a gift, and secondly say, give me money for the gift. It seems to me, from the very outset, you're being conned.
So if people have used those type of techniques, I would say that they're not really understanding what a devotee is doing when he's representing the Krishna Consciousness movement on the street.
Do you not believe that?
Can I explain, first of all, what the activity of book distribution is all about? Srila Prabhupada, the founder of our movement, he very much stressed this book distribution as a very good way of injecting spiritual teachings within society as a whole. And he very much wanted us to distribute his books. So that is the foremost reason why we're there. Now, collecting funds, a lot of people have this idea that we're very much interested in gaining a lot of funds. And yes, we are.
So what
to spread Krishna's movement. Now,
so what do you do with the money?
That's what I'm saying. People have this idea because generally money is used to make some nice material facility to enjoy life. But if you come and visit the temples and see how the individual devotee lives in the temple, from the temple president down to the pot washer.
So where does the money go to then?
It's used to print more books, it's used to run free lunch programs for which people are invited to attend, to worship the Supreme Lord, which is for the benefit of all people.
So aren't the followers of Hare Krishna moving into the materialistic world by doing all these things?
We seem to be making use of
Krishna is the Lord of everything. The material world is also his kingdom. If one can utilize this world for the pleasure of the Lord, then that's real renunciation. It's not that renunciation means to go into a forest and meditate and wear no clothes.
Why go to Anishrath and sit there and meditate and all, and do all this thing in this idyllic setting? Why do that whenever you're also making use of the machinery of the socio-economic structure? Yeah, why do that? It seems to me to be very contradictory that first of all you're making use of a great machine, the whole social enterprise, and then on the other hand you're turning your back on that and going to Anishrath or going to any temples in these places and totally denouncing that. It seems to me. Please explain that.
Ideally, we would prefer to live in such places as Anishrath because we're trying to minimize our contact with the cities, which are dens of illusion.
What's the den of illusion?
But because we have a preaching spirit, we go to such places for the benefit of the people there, to enlighten them about spiritual life. Just as Jesus, he said, it's the physician should go to the sick. So for preaching purpose, we have places in cities, but otherwise, ideally, we prefer to live in the country.
Surely you should be stuck in. If you're a religious person, if you care about your fellow human beings, why don't you get in there and do a bit of charity work for people?
Do.
Yeah, but you seem so preoccupied with getting them to be Krishna conscious. You get in there.
What's the point of saving the drowning man's coat?
Oh, God! And just please, I mean, why, if you're a religious person, if you care about your society, shouldn't you be in there like a lot of the other religions are and do some good?
The soul is rotting in this material world because of his forgetfulness of God. On the basis of that forgetfulness, he's accepting different miserable conditions. So rather than just alleviate that one condition, why not help him extricate himself once and for all from the material world?
Krishna consciousness.
So you don't put any value on social action, on transforming society?
I didn't say we don't put any value, but we recognize its limitations.
Can I just ask you exactly what the soul is?
The soul is a spiritual spark, part and parcel of the Supreme Soul, which is Krishna. The soul's original place of living is the spiritual world with Krishna. But because the soul has minute independence, He falls down into this material world, or at least the tendency is there.
I don't understand exactly what that is. I still don't understand.
Krishna is a person.
You're talking about the soul. You've been saying that the soul is of utmost importance. But you have really put a lot of importance as well on the outside body, haven't you? Because you've made yourself different from any other person walking the street who actually practices a religion or has a certain culture. You stand out in a crowd, incredibly. So you have put a lot of importance on that outside shell, haven't you? And yet you're saying that the soul is the most important thing of all.
No, but we don't cater to the demands of the body.
So you don't live in houses?
Let me explain what that means.
Can I just ask you one thing? What do you think are the necessities for life? What do you have to survive?
One needs a little food. Yeah. One needs some shelter.
Shelter? What sort of shelter? Are you willing to be in the wilderness with a cardboard box?
If necessary.
What sort of shelter do you have?
Presently I'm living in the Brahmachari ashram at Soho Street. I sleep on the floor. There are 7 others in our room.
And is this place heated?
My belongings are kept in 2 bags.
Fine. Is this place heated?
It's sufficiently heated.
What about